welcome everyone to the wrap-up edition of Let's Take 5, and by that I mean wrapping up. This isn't our final episode.
No,
but we
an awful way to declare it.
This is the wrap-up, the final wrap-up. No, this is the wrap-up episode to, of course, the great filmmaker Werner Herzog. We've now done 30 episodes, which is awesome. We're riding high, man. We're having a good time. Yeah. So the movies that we covered, if you want to check them out, were Aguirre, Wrath of God, The Wrath of God. I said it like Austin does. Nosferatu the Vampyre, Fitzcarraldo, Grizzly Man, and Encounters at the End of the World. And we were joined by a guest on that one. It's always good to have a guest on the show. So this is, sort of the wrap-up episode. We go more casual here, I got tuxedo shorts on.
We don't even say our names till minutes in.
Have we not said our names?
No.
I'm Eric Martindale.
I'm Austin Luger.
There we go. They're said. And then at the very end of this episode, we're going to announce our next five. The next person we'll be covering.
So this was a really fun five because it is the auteur theory is talked about all the time, and I think both of us are subscribers. That is a thing.
Yeah.
And especially watching these five films, it's a Werner Herzog film. Every single frame. Not only because he's sometimes just speaking over the film as a narrator during the two documentaries, but it's a very clear depiction of the power of nature, the fragility of man, the emotional elements of life and the lack of emotion of the world. It is a constantly battling place, but sometimes it can work, but it's often a battle. He's a crazy dude.
Yeah, it's I think in the indifference of nature is sort of the silence of God, indifference of nature type of thing that he sort of uses in all the films. I was going to say in all of them, but Nosferatu, but he definitely uses it in Nosferatu. So
because at that point the vampire is seen as an act of nature. Yeah,
he's literally a force of nature.
Yeah,
but it's all very bleak for the most part. A lot of it, but there are sort of threads of hopefulness, but
really, kind of only to me and Fitzcarraldo is that also ends with him failing.
Yeah, he still fails at it, right? So.
And yet, it's bleak, but Werner Herzog has a very distinct sense of humor that's in quite a number of these films.
And it's all personified by the penguin that's just running off to his death.
Because when he waddles, he has his arms out. It's just a cute little penguin.
And he slides on his belly.
He's just eager to get towards nothing.
It's,
Encounters is the funniest of these films, but you couldn't tell from a review, but Grizzly Man is very funny at times.
Yeah, Grizzly Man, we got a little dark in that review because it's kind of hard not to. A man does get killed.
Nosferatu had these very absurdist moments, including very absurdist performances.
That's a pretty funny movie, too.
Is.
It was kind of goofy.
And Aguirre and Fitzcarraldo sometimes just gets... You're just in awe of, the fuck's happening here?
Yeah,
how many small little monkeys are on that boat right now?
Dude, Aguirre, though, that, if there was one thing, I came away from this. I'm happy we did it. I've now seen Aguirre, The Wrath of God, which, if you listen to the podcast, I love that movie. I thought it's one of the better movies I've ever seen. God, it was so good.
Well, should we do our arbitrary ranking that we like to do?
Yeah, let's do our arbitrary ranking. So let me go first because it was year 5.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way we should go. So,
and also you know what it is, probably.
All right, so from least to best... We'll go that route. So the movie I liked the least, is Encounters at the End of the World. Mm-hmm. Then Nosferatu the Vampyre would be 4th. 3rd, I'd have Fitzcarraldo. And this is really difficult. But 2nd, I would have Grizzly Man, and 1st, I would have Aguirre, The Wrath of God. That's how it'd go. But I think there's a significant drop-off between Grizzly Man and Nosferatu.
I understand, and I am now struggling. Again, this is so hysterically arbitrary. The point of this is to have a half-hour discussion. But we
usually don't go half hours in the wrap-up, do we?
No. I'm saying half-hour discussion of each
movie.
That's the content of the podcast. Ranking means nothing, and yet...
Or what have I been doing with my life?
God, 30 episodes of this. But, number 5 is Nosferatu the Vampyre. This is so difficult.
It's
I think number 4 is Fitzcarraldo.
Okay.
Which I went with my number 1, but I still love the film quite a bit. Then... This makes no sense. Then Aguirre, then Encounters, then Grizzly Man.
You liked Encounters that much?
I think it's a personal thing. If you tell me what is a technically better film, I think that is Aguirre and Fitzcarraldo over it. But Encounters hits that niche of like fun, like philosophy and beauty that I think I could watch Encounters like every day.
So you enjoy him more as a documentary filmmaker then?
I do, because and the other films I've seen of his, I've seen a couple more of his German films, which I can't pronounce very well, with Kinski in them, and they're good. I like them. Not as much as like these three, but the ones I really I still like quite a bit are his documentaries. Cave of Forgotten Dreams, Into the Abyss. The only other kind of film that I love so much that I almost put on this list is one of his fiction films, which is Bad Lieutenant Port of Call, New Orleans, which is, it's so removed from his typical things.
It's goofy.
First off, it's a sequel to a movie he hasn't seen.
Yeah.
Bad Lieutenant.
Yeah.
It is about an hysterically corrupt New Orleans police officer who is very, very corrupt and is on drugs the entire time. Don't worry, played by Nicolas Cage. When his partner is Val Kilmer, and Val Kilmer is the straight man. The movie is bonkers. There's a hallucinatory iguana in it.
Well,
it's very suspicious of.
We've all been there.
Yeah, it really shows it takes glee in the madness, whereas other of these films are the warnings of madness.
Well, Nosferatu takes a little glee in it.
It does.
Yeah, I think of them.
Of these that we've covered.
I mean, Aguirre is the biggest warning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, he made a film this year about the internet, which I was a bit disappointed by, but it has the most Herzogian title, which is Lo and Behold, the Revelries of This World.
Jesus Christ, of course it is. You know, it's really funny. I just said Aguirre has the biggest warning, but the reason why I didn't say Grizzly Man is because I think it should be pretty obvious if, you fuck around with a grizzly bear, you're going to get eaten by one. Yeah. So, obviously it's more nuanced than that. And see the episode.
Well, it's so interesting because, we compared Aguirre and Fitzcarraldo of their ambitions. Aguirre is led by greed and Fitzcarraldo is led by ambition towards a goal of beauty.
Well, they're both led by ambition.
Ambition?
No. Fitzcarraldo, he's led by opera.
Yeah.
It is not. I know we argued about this. I do not find it to be more nuanced than that, and that's why I didn't like the movie that much. But the dude likes opera, man.
He does. But Timothy Treadwell's also led towards ambition. But it's kind of actually, I guess, he stands between Fitzcarraldo and Aguirre, right? Because he has an altruistic goal to a point of trying to educate. But also he wants the fame, which is the greed element. Yeah,
well, and also he wants to educate you about fantasy. Mm-hmm. What he's trying to impart on you is Scientology, or what Scientology, Jesus. What I mean is it's bogus. He's teaching you about something that's fake. Yeah. His worldview, his perception of the way bears actually are, is incorrect because he gets eaten by one.
Yeah.
So, there it is.
There it is. But now think about more. I mean, in Nosferatu, it's the story of Dracula. Jonathan is excited about this because he's going to get rich.
Yeah, Jonathan, man. He's a goofball. He's a miserable idiot.
I mean, people are going for, power and money in that one. The people not want to do that is people in Encounters because they're living on the bottom of the planet. They weren't expecting to see a movie camera facing them ever in their lives. Mm-hmm. That's why I find the film so charming. It's because they're people who aren't looking for fame. They're people who just want to do what they do best in a bit of isolation. And Herzog admires them so much for that. Because they're the most interesting people he's seen. He had to travel across the planet to find them. Yeah, no, and like I said, I mean, I don't begrudge Encounters. I think I couldn't make it. It's just that Tim agreed with me to some extent, but you don't get the Herzog effect out of it. There are better documentaries, I think, about Antarctica, and not just ones that you can find on, National Geographic Channel. Sure. I mean, there just are. I mean, I watched one a couple years ago. I can't even think of the name of it. I thought it was brilliant. And they stayed there for the whole year, so they were there through all the perpetual darkness too. And you learned more about the people that way, and that's why I don't think Herzog was really
interested in the people as much as you guys think he was. Because if he was, then we would have seen more about the people. I feel it was almost more about just life in general. Again, it had no core to it to me. That doesn't mean what it doesn't show you isn't really informative and also very, very beautiful, because it is.
It's kind of fascinating because, I mean, the guy's made so many movies, and I've seen a number of his films, and it's so weird to have these 5 films that are so distinctly Herzog. When he has a film that, like, he just doesn't have any passion around it. Like, he made a film with Michael Shannon. I'm like, oh my god, Michael Shannon and Herzog together. I have to watch this film right away, and it was boring. And that's a bummer, because it's Michael Shannon and Herzog. They should have, like, destroyed every set they were in. But it was bland, and you can tell when his heart's in it, his heart's not in it. I meant to watch it play.
Or when his heart's too much in it, which I think the problem with Fitzcarraldo is.
Yeah.
So.
But that's why I'm excited, because, like, he has this new film that came out with Netflix, Into the Inferno, where he goes around the world looking at volcanoes. And reviews have been very positive, but they've all said it's been meandering. And that makes me so excited for it. Because that means he's going to go...
Into the Abyss is the documentary that he did about capital punishment. That doesn't meander at all.
Focused.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely doesn't meander at all. It's very, very, very focused. Now, that is about... he interviews people on death row. He tells you what their crimes are. He makes no bones about, like, what their crimes actually are. That they are bad people. In fact, even interviewing one of them, he says, I don't like you at all. I mean, and I can not like you and not want you to die.
And that's where it's so amazing, because you just don't... In the argument about capital punishment, it's always very much like, these are bad people who are undeniably bad.
Yeah.
That's so much of the argument. But to have him... Because, I mean, with, like, In Cold Blood, I mean, Truman Capote... recognized that these guys are guilty, but also found something very... He had affection towards them. That's not Herzog here. It's Herzog recognizing he knows that man can be cruel and evil. But he also thinks if you kill them, you're being cruel and evil.
Yeah, well, and that plays into this sort of the same themes he sort of explores in his documentaries, and, about that whole... of what separates us from nature. Well, it's intelligence. And if we're smart enough to not be the bear that eats Timothy Treadwell, how do we square that with capital punishment?
Right.
I mean the film, you can be for capital punishment and still like the film. I don't think it like...
It's a really good, like, personal essay film.
Exactly. And it is pointed, and you hear some horrifying stories about these people. In particular, one that always stands out to me, the guy that's on the cover. He did get executed. I think the interview was like a week and a half before he got executed.
Yeah.
The guy is so stupid. I mean, quite frankly, he's just stupid.
Well, describe him.
What?
Describe.
Well, he doesn't seem very educated, because he's not. He came from a very poor area in nowhere, Texas. He thought the person, as I recall, and it's been a bit since I've seen the movie.
I saw when it came out.
But but it's like he liked the car they had, so he went to the garage to steal the car. He got caught, so they murdered the woman that caught them, and then they stole the car. And he was like 18 when he did it, and he's a loser. I mean, he just is. And the movie judges him as that. But the movie says... Yeah, and I also can say I don't think we should kill him.
He's my fellow man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. It from that perspective, because it definitely doesn't make any bones about it. It's interesting because it makes an argument against capital punishment, but it's also not trying to save that guy's life. It's just saying, isn't it weird that we kind of do this? Isn't that a bit absurd?
Yeah. And he made a follow-up documentary miniseries about this subject that I have not seen yet. I think it just left Netflix, annoyingly.
No.
I think it's called, like, On Death Row, which is, like, 6 episodes long.
Oh, and he did that? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And I'd want to see it, because I want to see, like, all his films. One thing we did not cover in his career during this 5, which maybe we shouldn't have, but it's still fun to talk about. He does act quite a bit. He played the bad guy in Jack Reacher, which was a very standard bad guy, but he was missing fingers and got a monologue about that. He was in an episode of Rick and Morty,
Sure.
which is it was one of the episodes I don't like that much, but it's his subplot that makes the whole episode watchable because it's just madness. And Dan Harmon has a great story about when he came in to record. Dan Harmon's the creator of Rick and Morty, and he said they kind of both bonded because Stephen Colbert was just in recently to record his episode, and Herzog told a story about how he was on, that man's show. He's in the green room, and Stephen came in and talked to him, and he told him, "You should call this show. You should use the French pronunciation and call it the Colbert Report. That's a better idea." And Stephen just nodded, saying yeah, take that into consideration. And Dan Harmon's like, he thinks that he didn't know what the show was called. He thought he had to tell this thing, and he thought that it was such a good idea. He still doesn't know it's that. He's telling people he's just met yeah, it should really be called the Colbert Report, not the Colbert Report.
The Colbert Report,
which is his actual last name.
Yeah, huh.
He has recently said that he is all for playing a Bond villain if anyone wants to cast him. Which, yes, please. But his best acting-only movie is a mockumentary about himself, which is called Incident at Loch Ness, and it is about a documentary crew who's going to join Werner Herzog in his next documentary project, where he's going to investigate the Loch Ness monster. And it's Hollywood satire kind of stuff, but the depiction of Herzog's life is so wonderful because at the beginning of the film, he goes, before every documentary, I like to have a dinner and to kind of discuss all the philosophies about what the project can entail. And his dinner party includes Jeff Goldblum and Ricky Jay. It's this is the Herzog brain trust. And it's an okay movie, but the third act twist is actually why I really recommend it. I'm just going to say it because no one's going to watch this movie. The monster attacks them. It becomes Herzog versus the Loch Ness Monster in this documentary.
Naturally.
As one does. So, the guy is fascinating. I now need to listen to every comment. The book I mentioned, the diaries, Conquest of the Useless. It's one of the best books I've read recently because every entry is just Herzog? A beautiful man losing his mind every day, whether it's in Los Angeles or Peru.
All right, and with that,
I think we got to say goodbye to all Herzog here.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. They all seem to go so fast. I can't believe that we've
done 6 people now.
6 people. We've done 30 episodes. It's hard to believe. We haven't missed a week, and it's going strong.
Well, we had a bonus episode of the horror films, and we keep doing these wrap-up episodes. How are we doing?
That's wasting my life.
That's 37 episodes.
Yeah, no, it's been fun, and these are conversations we would obviously be having anyway. But it's nice to get to visit someone like Herzog, which is not someone who's canon. Obviously I've seen some of the films before, but to see them all, and I don't know, it's been nice.
I'm excited for our next one.
So. Our next one is...
This is your pick?
This is my pick. I went with this. Now, I had debated between another actor. We wanted to do an actor, and it was kind of touch and go there for a while for who we would actually do. But we, at the end of the day, it was kind of decided that actor was too close to kind of the way Kinski kind of was. So as far as the methoding and being an actor type of thing. So decided to move away from that. It's definitely someone we'll visit later, which is why I'm not bringing up their name right now.
No. If you go to the grocery store, you might see his face. That's all we'll say.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's true. So the person that I have selected is Jimmy Stewart. So James Stewart. So this is interesting because we get to go back to the old black and whites again, at least for a portion of this, or for mostly all of this. And we get to hang out because Winchester 73 is in color, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
And Vertigo is.
And Vertigo, yeah. So
spoiler on 2 of the 5.
Yeah, I know.
We're so close to announcing that.
I thought I even knew that while I was saying it, and I just decided, no, I don't care. It's worth correcting if I sound stupid.
This is the wrap-up episode.
Winchester 73 I haven't seen, so it's the one on here I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So James Stewart 5 are, the first one we're going to cover is The Philadelphia Story. Fantastic movie. Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn in the film as well.
He won an Oscar.
He won his Oscar for that film, and he plays the greatest drunk of all time. Until maybe later, actually. Number 2, It's a Wonderful Life. The Frank Capra masterpiece. We decided we wanted to go with one Capra film between this and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. So you won't see that one on the list. 3, Winchester 73.
Because he made a number of Westerns, and we wanted to pick one. Super tempted by The Man Shot Liberty Valance. That's more of a John Wayne movie.
Yep. I would go with that, too. And that's what I think of when I think of that movie.
Yeah.
4 is Harvey. This is a movie I absolutely adore.
I can't wait to rewatch it.
Yeah, I love this film. Elwood P. Dowd is the main character's name. There isn't a greater main character name than that.
It's pretty damn good.
And then the final one, again, we wanted to pick one Hitchcock movie. We went with Vertigo. We didn't want to go with Rear Window, which is actually a film I like better. But I'm excited to see Vertigo again because I haven't seen it since I was 18 years old.
I think you're really going to like it again. I think we are now successfully making sure we'll never have a Hitchcock 5 because we've now taken up Vertigo and Psycho.
I still think you can do one.
I think we still can.
Yeah, I mean, are you kidding me? I absolutely still can.
I think those are like his two, most curiously different. Those were him, testing his own kind of films.
Yeah.
So, that's the kind of thing we would want in a 5, but he also did Frenzy.
North by Northwest.
That was so good.
We still have Rear Window. We'll be fine.
I love Strangers on a Train.
39 Steps.
Yep.
Man Who Knew Too Much.
For our correspondent. We can do this all day.
Yeah,
I've seen them all.
I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's what it'll be. Philadelphia Story, It's a Wonderful Life, Winchester 73, Harvey, Vertigo. Tune into those. We'll kick it off with Philadelphia Story next Friday.
In 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
So, I said next Friday, as in the Friday you're literally about to have.
Yeah.
So if you want to write to us at letstake5@theartimmortal.com. You can tweet us at theimmortalspod, or you can visit us at theartimmortal.com and leave a comment on there. What's the Immortals podcast?
The Immortals podcast is a fun, silly show where 5 of us, pretend to be immortal and discuss the 1,001 movies, albums, food, songs, children's books, and TV shows that you must consume before you die. And this week, I forgot to write down what we're covering. So it's
a surprise. You should have just said, this week it's a surprise.
I mean, it always is. And I know I've seen the movie before. Oh, wait, no, I know what it is. We're doing the Muppet movie and Arrested Development.
Wow, that's going to be the greatest episode of The Immortals ever.
Damn straight. Download it tomorrow.
And then Constant Diversions, my YouTube channel. Hopefully my The Last of Us review is out at that point. So.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it should be long. It's 3,800 words, so it'll be around for a while.
And also by now, new podcast on the Art Immortal, Ad Absurdum, where we have 3 lawyers debate the legality of fictional worlds. And the first episode is all about Minority Report, which we covered on our show. And I'm going to say episode 24.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, definitely was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
It is.
Austin didn't like it that much.
No, because it's silly.
All right, well, that about wraps us up. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, this was fun, and we'll catch you very soon. I'm Austin Luger.
And I'm Eric Martindale.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you at Bedford Falls.
The enormity of their flat brain, the enormity of their stupidity is just overwhelming. You have to do yourself a favor when you're out in the countryside and you see chicken. Try to look a chicken in the eye with great intensity, and the intensity of stupidity that is looking back at you is just amazing. By the way, it's very easy to hypnotize a chicken. They're very prone to hypnosis, and in 1 or 2 films I've actually shown that.